friends, Ingrid here from the Netherlands, aka Rocking Lupa. It's Monday evening here in Holland, and today when I was at the office, or at my work actually, while I was having a break, I was just, surfing a little bit on my cell phone, and of course I checked out the latest news, the latest messages and posts on the Facebook page, from the vinyl community. And I noticed a very nice post from someone who added a picture from himself while he was holding an LP from the Dutch band Earth and Fire. And it was the album Atlantis. And below that post, many people, they posted comments, and among others also Derek. And he told, I think I have a different pressing. And, while I was reading all those messages, I thought to myself, I actually think I also have some pressings from that album. So when I was home again, and after I had dinner and everything, I checked out my record collection. And indeed, I have several pressings from Atlantis, because of the Dutch band Earth and Fire. And so I thought it was a very nice idea to shoot just a little video for you again, and show you those pressings. So, let's start very quickly with that. The first one I want to show you. This is the Dutch pressing. It was released in 1973, so I was only 2 years old then. It was released on Polydor Records, so the label Polydor. And so here you can see Atlantis. And this is a single-sided LP, and very nice to have, And while I was looking for, a little more information about this album on internet, I just found out that because these are really original pressings, and I just found out that in the meantime these pressings have really big value in money. And I was really kind of shocked, because while I was looking through the list, the value list, I noticed that that might be worth about 40 or 50 euro. And I thought to myself, well, do I have those kind of pressings in my collection? I didn't know it was worth that lot of money, because I have those albums already for years in my collection, But, even though I know they have a big value, I will not sell them, because I cherish every record in my record collection. So they just stay here, at my collection. So, I'm sorry. But so this is the Dutch pressing, but as I already said, I have more pressings because let me see, this one is the German pressing, and it's also released 1973. And but what's so very nice to tell you about this, as you can see here on the front picture, this is the Dutch pressing. So you can see the title Atlantis. But when you check out the German pressing, it's not called Atlantis. It has a different name. As you can see here, they didn't call the LP Atlantis, but they called it Maybe Tomorrow, Maybe Tonight, which is also a track on this album. and probably the most successful track of this album. So maybe, yeah, that's the reason why they call this Maybe Tomorrow, Maybe Tonight, instead of the original title Atlantis. So yeah, it has the same tracks, but there's a little change as well, because I will show you on the Dutch pressing, and I have to take it out of the sleeve now for you, because you know, there's no track list on the sleeve itself. But I hope it's visible enough in the camera. I will try. Here you see the first side of the album, and so, but you can see, so the first track is, for example, Prelude, and the second one is Prologue, and then Rise and Fall, and you know, I could go on and on. So that's the Dutch pressing. But when I go to the German pressing and I go to the A side, so the first side of the LP, you can read here the track list. They changed the A and the B side. So what was original the B side on the Dutch pressing, it's now the A side of the German pressing, and in reverse. So yeah, so the A side on the Dutch pressing is now the B side of the German pressing. So as you can see here, it starts with Maybe Tomorrow, Maybe Tonight. So that's a very nice thing to find out too. And yeah, so this was also 1973, but I have another pressing for you. Yes, I do. Let me show you. This is also a Holland pressing, and I noticed that there must be a UK pressing too, but I don't have it in my collection. So maybe yeah, some people in the VC, they do have another pressing, maybe UK, or even a pressing you know, from the USA. I don't know how many pressings there are abroad, but yeah, so this is also a Dutch pressing, but it's not a single-sided LP because it's gatefold. As you can see, with very great artwork, really awesome. And yeah, so this was also 1973. And yeah, I think yeah, the most favorite track also to me is Maybe Tomorrow, Maybe Tonight. You know, because of the, yeah, I don't know how to call that, but the big bombastic drums and the you know, the organ sound and everything. So yeah, I just like that kind of symphonic prog rock sound. And but yeah, so those are my Atlantis albums by Earth and Fire, but I have more to show you by the same band. So I thought it would be nice to show you that as well. This is actually the album they released before Atlantis. This is Song of the Marching Children, and it was released in 1971. So this album has the same age as myself, so it's almost 41 years old. Yeah. So yeah, it's really old, this LP. It's also very nice gatefold, again with very great artwork in it. And yeah, I think that this album sounds a little bit different from the Atlantis album. It's a little bit more symphonic, I guess. It almost reminds me a little bit to you know, how Deep Purple sounded in the early 70s, but then, you know, of course without heavy guitars. So you know, I think when a heavy metal band would play the tracks of this album now in the present, you know, I think you would almost get yeah, Deep Purple kind of sound, if you know what I mean. So but yeah, so this is very nice, yeah, prog rock, symphonic music. So yeah, but after that, of course, Atlantis, the Atlantis album came. So and on the German pressing, it's called Maybe Tomorrow, Maybe Tonight. You also hear it in the background, by the way. But I think the Atlantic album, it has a little bit more melody in it, yeah, you know. And but yeah, I like the Maybe Tomorrow, Maybe Tonight track, you know, really great song. And yeah, I do not have really a lot of Earth and Fire, but I do have some compilation LPs. For example, this one, The Best of Earth and Fire. And I also have this one, Superstar Shine Volume 2. So also Earth and Fire. So very nice to have. But yeah, I also have 7-inch, you know, for the single Memories. Also on the Polydor label, of course. So great to have this as well. And I also have the Atlantis album on CD. Yeah, so of course the original album from 1973, it was released on CD in 2010. And you know, I just grabbed this CD from a discount bin, you know. It was, you know, I think I only paid about €5 for this. I don't know, it was really cheap. And I thought to myself, well, this is just, you know, something you could only purchase for this money just once in a lifetime, you know. So I just took the chance and I bought the CD. So, and I never regret of that. You know, it's great to have the Atlantis LP or the album on CD too, you know. Great sounds also. Yeah, great to have this. And then I also have a compilation CD, the very best of Earth and Fire. You know, and this holds, you know, of course the older songs from the 70s. But it also has some songs from the 80s. And I have to explain a little bit about it, I think. Because, yeah, so Earth and Fire, it was founded in 1968 already, so long time ago. And the original name, it was Opus Gainful. Yeah, so it was the very first name before they called themselves Earth and Fire. It was called Opus Gainful. And it was founded, so the band was founded by the twin brothers Gerhard and Chris Koorts. And I can show you a picture from them on the front of this compilation LP. So these are the twins, the twin brothers, of course, Chris and Gerhard Koorts, and they founded Earth and Fire. And but in the first place they had a different vocalists, And yeah, I just wrote some things down because you know, it's all very old, yeah, Dutch music history. And but very nice to tell that in this video too, of course. In the first place, Manuela Berlot, if I pronounce her name right, I don't know. Manuela Berlot, she was the very first female vocalist for Earth and Fire. But yeah, unfortunately she got ill, and so she left Earth and Fire. And in 1969 you know, there was Journey Kaagman in the band, and yeah, she stayed she stayed just a permanent Earth and Fire vocalist for, you know, the entire career of the band. So yeah, and of course you know, yeah, so they were very popular, especially in the 70s, early 70s. And of course that was a time when also you know, there were bands like Shocking Blue, you know, also from The Hague, by the way, and they were also very popular. And of course they had the huge hit Venus, you know, and so in that era, you know, you had those kinds of bands. And yeah, so and of course Chris Koorts, he played guitar, and he was a vocalist also. And Gerard Koorts, he also played guitar, but also keyboards. And they wrote just the most of the Earth and Fire songs. So, and especially in the early 70s. So yeah, they are responsible to that yeah, prog rock symphonic Earth and Fire sound, you know. And yeah, actually yeah, there are two eras that yeah, Earth and Fire existed, because in the first place they existed from 1968 until 1983, and then, you know, after a few years they, yeah, had a sort of comeback again, and they started again with in 1987, and the band existed until 1990. So yeah, but Chris Koorts, so one of the twin brothers, he left the band in 1979 already, and Gerard Koorts, he stayed a band member for a while, for a little bit longer, but you know, when the band quit in 1983, he also never came back to the band anymore. But when the Earth and Fire, when they made their comeback in 1987, they also had a very well-known name in that band, and I think you probably will know that name too, because his name is Ton Scherpenzeel. And of course, Ton Scherpenzeel, he is one of the members of Kayak. And of course Kayak is also one, I think probably one of the greatest Dutch prog rock bands. And yeah, they still exist, they still play on stage, and they are still very successful here in the Netherlands. But yeah, so, but Earth and Fire, it doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, especially in the early 70s they had big hits. Then later, late 70s, 1979, they had a hit here in the Netherlands, at least. I don't know if you know that abroad too, but it was the single Weekend. It was a very, yeah, a huge hit here in the Netherlands. And then in 1982 they had a hit 24 Hours. And 1983, so it was also the year that Earth and Fire just quit. But they had just 2 hits as well. Jack is Back and The Two of Us, you know, and yeah. But yeah, so 1987, from 1987 until 1990, you just had a sort of comeback, but with a very different lineup. And but yeah, so the real great hits, they didn't seem to, you know, they didn't seem to come anymore. The band didn't have that quality of the 70s, if you know what I mean. Because yeah, again, I think that the twin brothers, Gerard and Chris Koert, they were responsible for that that really great prog rock symphonic Earth and Fire sound. So yeah, you could say that after the twin brothers left the band and they didn't come back anymore, yeah, you just could say that I don't know how to say that, but you could say that sort of that the soul was pulled out of the band. You know, I don't know how I can explain that to you, but I'm sure you will know what I mean. You know, but yeah. So, and Johnny Kaagman, yeah, she doesn't sing anymore for a long time anymore. She hasn't got any you know, singing career or whatever, but she was a very successful director, yeah, sort of, for several Dutch musical how you call that, foundations, you know, and yeah, so really, yeah, music companies who just fight the rights sort of for the Dutch musicians, you know. So yeah, so she was a very successful director for several culture foundations, and I don't think she is a director anymore. She's from 1947, so I don't know if she is doing anything at this moment. I don't know actually. But a few years ago, she also appeared as a jury member from the very popular talent show Idols. So it was the Dutch version from the Idols, you know, series, the talent show. And so she was one of the jury members also. And well, yeah, she has never been married her entire life, but since 1974, so already, you know, since I was 3 years old, already since 1974, she is living together. So her partner in life is Bert Ruiter, and Bert Ruiter, he was also one of the band members for Earth and Fire also, but also for Focus. And I'm really sure that you also outside the Netherlands will know that name, Focus. You know, of course, from you know, the guitarist Jan Akkerman, and the man who plays on the flute, and the vocalist Thijs van Leer, of course, but also the bass player Bert Ruiter. He was also one of the Focus members, and he now is the, you know, the partner in life for Johnny Kaagman, so the previous Earth and Fire vocalist. And so she is living with him already since 1974, so that's really a long time. And yeah, and to be honest, I really don't know what Jenny Kaagman does now, you know, in the present. And but she surely doesn't have a musical career anymore. But yeah, I thought it was nice to just show you yeah, my Earth and Fire LPs, and tell you a little bit about Atlantis albums and the different pressings, and also a little yeah, musical story for the history from you know, Earth and Fire. So yeah, I hope yeah, you liked my story and my video. Well, the music already stopped for a while, and it's almost 30 minutes now, and it's also become yeah, a little dark now outside, so yeah, high time to just leave you here and quit this video now. And but yeah, while I was reading the message on the Facebook page, I just yeah, I almost couldn't wait to just shoot this video for you. So yeah, well, this was my story about the Dutch band Earth and Fire. And yeah, it was really great. Yeah, Dutch prog rock and symphonic music. And yeah, I think actually it would be really nice if people in the VC, so abroad, and maybe also inside the Netherlands itself, but especially outside the Netherlands, yeah, I would like to know if you do have actually, if you do have Earth and Fire records in your collection. And yeah, maybe you can show that to me, and maybe you have a different pressing. So I only have the Holland pressings and the German pressing, but maybe you have a very really different pressing. So that would be nice to just yeah, to see that too, if you know what I mean. So yeah, but yeah, I really have to go now because I have some other things to do, and among others I have you know, my daughter, she is 7 years old, and it's high time to to bring her to her bedroom now, if you know what I mean. So yeah, but I hope you liked my video. Leave me comments, you know, below the video, or shoot me messages, write me an email. You can also reach me on my Facebook page, maybe, if you yeah, if you like that. It's also very welcome. And well, this is it for today. And yeah, again, a little touch from the Dutch, and it was very fun to show you these records. And yeah, I hope you liked it too. Yeah. Thank you all for watching, and hope to see you soon. And I think yeah, probably the next video will be a recent find video again. Okay? But bye for now. See you soon. Bye bye.